2 years ago, a pandemic hit our world, forcing us all to stay indoors and eat roaches for dinner. No? Just me. Okay, alright, cool. Cool. During that time, a very anticipated video game came out, and that video game was Super Mario 3D All-Stars, but also The Last of Us 2. And it was controversial to say the least. You either loved this game or you hated this game. And let me tell you, I hated this game with all of my heart. You see, The Last of Us 1 is my favorite game of all time. I finished this game too many times to count. It's at least in the 30s, no exaggeration. So when The Last of Us 2 was about to release, you bet your ass that I stayed up till midnight to play the game. And 25 to 30 hours later, I felt like I was hanged upside down, butt naked, and spanked at least 20 times. And then they let me down and spanked me some more. Anybody who liked this game even a little bit, I put on my avoid at all times list. And even further, I wrote a letter to Santa Claus. I sent it to him to tell him that you guys don't deserve any gifts. But 2 years later, I decided maybe it was an in the moment kind of thing. And I am one of those people who has to play something more than once to really have an opinion on it. Even with movies, I have to watch it twice. The only thing was, to play this game again is a huge commitment. I mean, the game is more than 25 hours long. But I decided to stay up late every single night, force myself through this game, and I understand why people like this game now. Don't get me wrong, it's still a really, really bad game, story-wise, but I get it. I understand fully. So let's start where all games start, and that's... Now, before I can really talk about the game, I do have to tell you guys its story, just in case you need a recap or you just haven't played the game. Abby goes on the hunt looking for the murderer of her father, which just so happens to be Joel. While scoping out Jackson, Abby finds Joel and tortures him. Ellie, on the other hand, is out there exploring her newfound relationship with Dina. Ooh la la. While this is happening, Ellie finds out that Joel is in trouble and goes out looking for him. She finds him being tortured by this absolute freaking unit of a woman. Tommy, who is Joe's brother, and Ellie are forced to watch Abby kill Joe. Abby and her crew get out of there, and Tommy ain't taking it like that. No, he isn't. Tommy goes out looking for Abby, and Ellie and Dina are like, yo, we gotta go chase after him, and they go try to find him before he gets to Abby. But while they're out looking for Tommy, Ellie decides to change her focus from finding Tommy to finding Abby so she can kill her herself and everybody and anybody who gets in her way. While this is happening to Ellie, Abby is out there bonding with two kids who are supposed to be her enemies while she's trying to get out of the area that she's in. Abby finds out that she was being hunted down the whole time after she finds her friends being the opposite of alive. Which is dead, if you didn't know what I was talking about. She finds Ellie and is about to kill her, but Lev is like, no, don't kill her. And she's like, alright, fine, but you know, I hope this beatdown taught you a lesson. And Ellie decides to just let it go and just move on with her life. Except that she doesn't, because she ain't no She finds Abby to return the favor and kill her herself. Except that she doesn't kill her. She only beats her up really badly, and that's the end of the game. Also, she lost some fingers. The end. Okay, now let's talk about it. Joel, the character we played as in the first Last of Us game. What a guy. You know, he's the reason this game story exists. Because his existence has ceased. Because he gets absolutely murked. Now, a very common comment that I've seen from people who love this game, which, by the way, I did tell Santa to put you guys back on the nice list because I realized you're allowed to have your own opinions. But anyway, a very common comment that I've seen from people who love this game is that people don't like Abby because she killed Joe. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel like that's a very valid reason to not like Abby. Players, including myself, have spent 15 hours with Joel in the first game, as well as Ellie. Of course people are going to hate the new character who killed the beloved character within the first 2 hours of the game. Just to remind you guys of how long the game is, it's 25 to 30 hours long. And he dies within the first 2. You don't even get to play as him again except for the beginning when he's riding this horse thing. I think it's a horse? I don't know, it could be a giraffe. Or an elephant. Getting mad at people who don't like this game for that reason is like getting mad at people who hate Avengers Infinity War because Thanos wins. You know, he had probable cause. There's two sides to every story. He's the hero in his own eyes. Get it? Because that's the point that this game is trying to make. Now, weirdly enough, it took people playing this game to realize that Joel isn't a good person. And that's another argument people like to use when defending this game, is that, you know, you shouldn't like Joel, you know, you should like Abby because, you know, she killed a really bad guy. Joel was a really bad person. He was a bad dude. But here's the issue. We know that information already. Joel is killing people left and right in the first game. Hell, he'll kill anybody who isn't part of his clique. There's even a part in the first game where he's driving and there's some guy asking for help and Ellie's like, yo, we gotta stop, and Joel's like, and then speeds up, and then turns out the whole thing was a trap. And then later in that same sequence, Ellie is like, yo, how'd you know that was a trap? And Joel is like, because I used to be one of them, baby boy.
How did you know?
Know what?
About the ambush.
I've been on both sides.
Oh. So, you kill a lot of innocent people? I'll take that as a yes.
Take it however you want.
So like, yeah, Joel is not a nice person. We've already known that. But we don't like Joel because he's bad. We like him because we see him tear down his walls and his me first ideology for Ellie. He literally risks it all for Ellie. He even almost dies for the girl, man, and slowly adopts her as his own. And then when she's about to be taken away from him, we even have some sort of sympathy for him as he's killing his way to get to her. He is a human being who has lost so much, and he'll be damned if he loses another part of him. That is why we love him. Because a lot of us would do the same thing if we were in his shoes. Just do it. Before I continue, I feel like we should address the elephant in the room, and that is Joel and Tommy trusting Abby and her group on a first name basis. Abby and her crew go to Jackson because they get intel from Fireflies that Tommy might be here. And Tommy, being an ex-Firefly, is related to Joel, so obviously that would be the first step to getting to Joel. And after being saved by them, Abby takes them to her room, and then Tommy tells them their names. Bada bing, bada boom, Joel is dead. First of all, it's established in the first game that Joel wouldn't do that. He's not very trusting of other people. I mean, when he met Sam and Henry, he was very hostile and ready to just get out of there and leave them be, or even kill them.
Now it's all about getting out of this shithole.
We can help each other.
Ellie.
Safety in numbers and all that.
On top of that, Joel is as famous in this world as Kim Kardashian is in Kanye's world. Joel literally killed hundreds of people from a variety of different survival groups getting Ellie to the hospital. And then he killed a bunch of people in the hospital getting to Ellie. And then he entrusts that information onto Tommy, and even Tommy's like, bro, damn.
Cover the exit. Don't let him get away.
God damn. That's so. That's a lot.
So with that information in mind, you're gonna sit there and tell me that Joel and Tommy would, 1, trust a random group of strangers who have them completely outnumbered, 2, trust them enough to tell them their first names, and then 3, not be suspicious as to why there's a group in a building overlooking their town? Yeah, I know, it's just hard for me to buy that scenario. I recently joined a Reddit for The Last of Us fans, and I saw something that Redditors were talking about, and they were saying that people would nitpick this scene so that they can say it's bad, because Ellie would have softened Joel up a little bit and he would act more like this. The issue is that The Last of Us 1 already established that Joel has always been Joel. Remember in the beginning of the first game when the outbreak is happening? Joel and Tommy are driving in a car, and they drive past a family who is asking them for help, and they have a kid. And Joel says, pretty much, yo, we gotta look out for our own, my boy. And this is when Joel's daughter was still alive. And all of this was 23 years before the actual game starts. So with that being said, Joel is obviously very consistent. So when you sit there and you tell me that he would have changed in the 5 years, but not the 23 years that he survived, I can't believe that. I personally feel like he wouldn't have trusted them enough. Especially Abby, one of the worst characters ever to be created, in my opinion anyway. I just want to state that this game does something that I have never seen in a video game before. They have Abby kill off Joel, and then they give Abby all of Joel's gameplay from the first game. And then on top of that, they give the same exact story arc to Abby that Joel has in the first game. She is literally an imposter. Yo, somebody quickly vote her out, vote her out. Now obviously this is done so that they can get you to like Abby after this very grotesque thing that she's done. But how am I supposed to like her when I keep seeing her Picasso painting that she created using Joel's face as a canvas? Her entire arc is completely pointless because she's still a bad person when the game finishes. Aside from putting Joel in the underworld, she also puts Jesse, a new character that they introduced, into the underworld as well, and then she paralyzes Tommy. That's messed up. Before all of that, she has a one-night stand with her ex, who has a baby coming with his girlfriend slash wife, and that woman is a friend of Abby. By the way, that sex scene was really disgusting, and I'm really mad that Naughty Dog made me watch that. I still can't get that out of my mind. It's actually gross. Going back to the affair thing, Abby was straight up not going to tell Mel, but Mel uses common sense and logic and her Batman skills to figure it all out.
Actually, I'm going with them. But not if you come. What? He may fall for your little act with these kids, but I don't.
There's nothing to fall for.
Isaac's top scar killer suddenly had a change of heart? Nothing to do with Owen, right?
I haven't always done the right thing.
You're a piece of shit, Abby. You always have been.
Abby is a terrible friend, a terrible ex-girlfriend, and even worse, Naughty Dog makes us beat Ellie up as Abby. She's a piece of shit. I hate her. Now here's the main issue with Abby, at least to me. Naughty Dog could have gotten away with making Abby this very likable character if the bad that she didn't greatly overshadow the good. Or maybe even develop her as a character before she does this very grotesque thing. Because the qualities are there, I just don't care enough to embrace them because of this. And this sucks because you spend about 12 hours with her, so if you don't like Abby, this is a real drag. But here's the thing, if you love Abby, then this part is amazing. Because I understand that if you didn't really agree with Joe's actions at the end of the first game and don't like him, then there's no reason to hate Abby. In fact, she did you a favor. But you should still consider these other things that she's done. Because here's the difference between Abby and Joel. Abby does all of this for her. Joel does all of this for her. Abby is just fully unhinged. The only reason she doesn't do worse stuff is because she has Lev to keep her in check. She almost killed Dina fully knowing that she was pregnant. To be fair to her, she didn't know that Ellie didn't know that Mel was pregnant when she killed her. But we know. That's the huge difference. We saw how both reacted. Ellie, not only was it in self-defense, but it was also shocking to her. She has a full-on panic attack when she sees the belly.
Whoa. Hey.
Abby looks Ellie straight in the eye when Ellie tells her that Dina is pregnant, and Abby goes, "Good."
She had nothing to do with this. She's pregnant.
Good.
Abby!
Abby is cold, man. And the cold never bothered her anyway. And that was a really dumb reference, I'm sorry. Now here's a segue. Ellie is the freaking GOAT. I just want everybody to know that. When I first played this game, I absolutely hated the whole game. But this time around, I actually really enjoyed Ellie's story. Except for Dina though, because she sucks, but you know, the rest of the story, really pretty good. And a huge reason as to why I hated Ellie's story at first was because I fully expected to experience Joel and Ellie again, not just Ellie. But to be fair to me, Naughty Dog's trailers for this game suggested that we'd be experiencing that. So you know, sorry for believing the trailers, cue the clowns. As I said before, Ellie is going down a path of revenge, and it's great. It fits her. In the first game, we've seen how brutal she can be when messed with the wrong way. She has a lot of pent-up fear and rage, just like the Hulk or Adam Sandler. And what better way to put her in an environment where she can take that all out onto other people. You get to blow up people, stab people, slash necks, blow some people's faces off. It's beautiful, it's amazing. And the only things I hated about her story was the ending of her story and Dina. Dina is Ellie's new girlfriend. As they're on their way to look for Tommy, Dina realizes that she's pregnant halfway through the trip, but she keeps that information from Ellie. And at this moment, she quite literally becomes a huge burden, and they discuss this.
Can you say something?
Ellie. I think I'm pregnant.
Are you fucking kidding? How long have you known?
I was late a few weeks ago.
A few weeks? We could have still turned back.
I didn't know. I wasn't sure, okay? I didn't want to be a burden.
Well, you're a burden now, aren't you?
From this point on in the game, she's doing absolutely nothing. She's just sitting there, which forces the game to bring in Jesse, who was just an innocent bystander, and then BAM, he dies. But that's a story for another day. I don't know, it's just a waste. I wish she was replaced with Joel, just saying. Well, not the whole relationship part, that'd be weird. And the ending of this game is definitely #1 on top 10 dumbest endings of animes. Ellie, after spending 14 plus hours of this game, playing Where's Waldo with Abby, finally gets Abby where she wants her. And then she just lets her go. What? Ellie not killing Abby makes this whole game pointless. Every main character that dies, pointless. Every NPC that dies, pointless. The past 25 to 30 hours of my life have been pointless. And when you put those together, because I played it twice, that means like 60 hours of my life have been pointless. Thanks a lot, Naughty Dog. Thanks a lot. The worst part is that I know I would buy Last of Us 3 if they announced it. Damn me. When Ellie lets her go, I was in complete shock. I have never felt like that before. And it wasn't in a good way. The whole message of the game is revenge is bad, you know, if you do revenge, you're a little wussy boy, you're a little wussy wuss. But the thing is, the message falls flat because she lets Abby go. Before Ellie goes looking for Abby a second time, she has a whole life with Dina and her kid. And Dina's all like, yo, if you don't want this go, I'm finna just drop out real quick. But Ellie is like, I gotta kill her. And then she leaves. And Dina keeps her promise. You know, when Ellie comes back, you know, she ain't there with the baby anymore, and most of her stuff is completely gone. Ellie loses everything, chasing out revenge that she didn't even go through with. Even her fingers. And because of those lost fingers, she loses the only thing she had left of Joel, which was her guitar playing. And the ending really isn't a remorseful one. It's one that makes you feel anger. As I said before, Ellie loses everything, but Abby gets to keep her life with Lev. That doesn't make any sense because Abby is the one who started the whole revenge story in the first place. And it's a shame because Ellie's character arc is really interesting. The whole game is her finally understanding why Joel did what he did to save her. And then the game ends with her forgiving Joel for saving her life. She finally understands him and she lets go and is able to move on. But in a scenario where she kills Abby, it would have been better if she not only understood Joel but then forgave him, but realized that killing Abby didn't bring her any peace. Joel is still gone. She still lost her fingers and she still lost her life with Dina. She loses everything. And she truly learns that revenge is never the answer. And Abby dying would have upped their weird revenge message a notch if she dies and then Lev is left alone. All of this was started by Abby, and now because of Abby's actions, somebody else has to pay for it. You just can't have a message of revenge being bad and just have one character enacting revenge, face the consequences, and the other not. That's not how that works. Now moving on from Ellie, I do want to talk about a huge issue in this game, and that is Ludonarrative Dissonance is the separation of gameplay to its narrative. For example, Uncharted features a lot of moments of Drake turning a lot of enemies into ghosts by putting a bullet in their head with a Glock, but it is never addressed in the cutscenes or just the overall plot. So in summary, Drake is a killer, but he's also not. Make sense? Cool. So one of the coolest things about the first Last of Us game is that there was no separation between narrative and gameplay. The amount of people you kill in the game is the amount of people Joel is killing in its story. Joel is just a natural born killer. And so it seems are you. Now you killed a lot of people in the first game. And I mean a lot of people, especially in the hospital. And you killing all those people in the hospital is what affects part 2. And at first you're like, yo bro, that's great, let's go. But then as you progress in the game tends to pick and choose when the separation is there between gameplay and plot. For example, Abby betrays her group of wolves. Not actual wolves, but like, that's the name of the group. And her and Lev go hiding into this big building. Now me, I murked everybody in that building, and I mean everybody. And then when she leaves, Lev is like, bro, you killed all those people. And Abby's like, let's keep it moving.
Abby, killed those wolves.
It doesn't matter. I'm getting off this island.
But as I learned, because I looked it up on YouTube, the dialogue changes on whether you killed everybody or if you didn't kill anybody, or if you killed only some of them. Which means that in this specific segment right here, the gameplay is affecting the plot.
Okay. Still with me? Good. Which way?
There's a radio station up ahead. We're gonna cut through.
How far is this Haven place from here?
Still got a ways to go.
Where are they hiding?
Watch my back. Hurry. Got it. Go. Go.
Abby, you killed that wolf.
It doesn't matter. We're getting off this island. Which way?
There's a radio station up ahead.
But Ellie, on the other hand, it's never really clear. And a lot of this is more confusing because Ellie lets Abby live. That doesn't make any sense if there is no ludonarrative dissonance. Because throughout the game, as Ellie, you are killing so many people and dogs in the most gruesome ways possible to get to this woman. So that means one of two things. One, Ellie killed all of those people in the story to get to Abby just to let her go. Or two, every single person that Ellie kills and every single dog that Ellie kills did not happen in the story. And that would kind of justify her letting Abby go. Either way, the answer is really, really stupid. And here's another segue because I couldn't think of another one. A lot of stuff that a lot of fans were hoping to see in this game happens within its flashbacks, specifically between Joel and Ellie. thing with flashbacks is that it's not a bad storytelling device, it just doesn't work in this bad boy. What The Last of Us 1 did so well is that we got to experience everything with the characters as they experienced it in real time. That means every joke, every heartfelt moment, every dangerous moment, every sad moment we experienced with the characters as they were experiencing it. That's what made the story work. Now part 2 on the other hand, every single important detail and character beat that happened between Joel and Ellie has already happened. Ellie and Joel start this game off at a point where they're going to try and fix their relationship. And then we have these flashbacks that build up to that moment. We don't really get to experience Ellie's growing suspicion of Joel and his weird lie about the hospital. We don't get to really experience their relationship slowly descend. And we don't get to experience anything that the first game set up. Picture this, you're eating a steak, the juiciest steak you can think of. You're eating that thick steak, but as you do, a chef comes by and is like, yo, here's the sides you ordered. And you're like, great, thanks. And you start to eat the sides, right? And it tastes really good. But then the chef is like, yo, oh, I gotta get you a bigger portion of the sides. And he takes the sides from you and he leaves. And now you're just left with the steak again. So you're like, ah, what the heck? The steak is pretty good. But halfway through the steak, you start to realize, you know, maybe the steak is not all that good. And you just want the sides because the sides, they were really good. Well, then the chef comes back and gives you the sides. He's like, yo, my bad, here's the sides. And you're like, great, thanks. So you start to eat the sides again. But then the chef was like, oh, we forgot to season it, my bad. He takes the sides away from you again and he leaves. So now you're disappointed because you got the rest of the steak to finish and you're gonna finish that damn steak because you paid for it. And so you finish the steak, right? You're eating it, you finish the steak. And the last piece of the steak, right? You can't even enjoy it because it's that fat piece that you can't even chew on, let alone ingest. So you're like, oh, that was disappointing. But then the chef comes back and he's like, yo, here's the last of your sides, my bad, bro. And you look at the sides and a lot of it is gone. And you're like, what the hell? But you're not gonna blame the chef for eating your sides. So you just take the rest of the sides. Now you're disappointed because you wish the steak was more like the sides. And yeah, that is what this game was. The steak was the actual game, and the sides were the flashbacks. And another problem with the flashbacks is that it's used to develop Abby as a character. The potential Naughty Dog had to make just one whole game or DLC focused on Abby and then developing her as a character, as well as her friends and her father, and then ending said DLC or game with her fighting Joel. That would have been amazing. Then you can have that whole thing in part 2 and really have the players conflicted as to who they want to side with. That would have been awesome. It's just when you're developing a character through its flashbacks, it's just harder for me to connect to that character, especially when she killed the character that I loved. If the goal is for me to connect to the killer of my favorite character, then why not just give her a game of her own before releasing this one? I don't know, I just don't think the flashbacks work in this game. Which is a shame because I think they are the best parts of this game, specifically of Joel and Ellie. Now, let's get to the final part of this video. Before I end this long video, I just want to end it on a good note. I want to talk about the positives of this game because at the end of the day, there are so many talented and creative, hardworking people that worked for hours, days, weeks, and even months, maybe even years to put this game together. And I think we should appreciate certain aspects of the game. I want to start off with how the game looks because this game still looks amazing. Mind you, this game came out on the PS4. I played this game on the PS5 and you would have thought it was a PS5 game. This game is just one of the most beautiful looking games I have ever played. And I've played Sonic 06. This game somehow manages to make a world that's overtaken by zombies and nature look like a wonderland. This is met with a beautiful score that really captures the mystery and beauty of this world. I mean, I'm playing one of the pieces right now. I'll let you listen for a hot second. Beautiful, right? The animations in this game are amazingly smooth. I mean, look at the way she's walking and running and then attacking somebody. Look how smooth that is. And the very last thing I want to talk about is the accessibility features. This game is incredibly accessible and I guess they just didn't want anybody to miss out on this game. And that's beautiful. You know, I don't think anybody has ever done this to this extent. Although I did not like the story, and if you're from Naughty Dog and you're watching this, I really do appreciate the hard work that you put into this game. It's really well done. And for those of you who haven't played it and watching this and are like, man, I don't really want to play this game because the story sounds awful, I really, really do recommend it. It's just a beautiful game that's full of beautiful sights and just really makes you feel something. I don't know what that is, but it makes you feel something. All in all, The Last of Us 2 is a game that leaves the player disappointed and kind of confused. But it is met with incredible graphics, views, and action. And despite all of my gripes with this game's stories, I do understand why people love this game. It's a story that is unique. It has never been done before. It is a story about revenge and why revenge isn't the way. Although poorly executed in my opinion, I can see why people think it's well done. And also, you can't tell, but I am wearing Stewie pajamas. These ones to be exact. I don't know if I found a picture, but if not, just imagine Stewie on blue pajamas. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. This video was a huge passion project of mine. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this. It means a lot. I'm gonna leave some videos in the description that really help me form my own opinions on the story and stuff. I suggest you go watch all of them. They're really good videos. And with that being said, I'll see you guys later. Thanks.